Welcome back. Bernie Sanders and Pete Buttigieg locked in a dead heat for first place in the latest New Hampshire polls, and the Democrats' leading presidential hopefuls are tearing into each other in the run-up to tomorrow's big primary.
I'm running against some guys, Pete Buttigieg among others, who have raised campaign funds from over 40 billionaires.
I respect Senator Sanders, but when I hear this message go out that you're either for a revolution or you got to be for the status quo, that's a vision of the country that doesn't have room for most of us.
He's right about that. It's a very polarized matchup between these two. So who will ultimately take New Hampshire in the second contest here? It's a big one. Joining us live to debate that, Fox News political analyst Gianno Caldwell and Democratic strategist Kelly Hyman. Guys, thanks for coming on today. Gianno, we're going to start with you. This is a big matchup, and they're very different candidates. Who do you think takes New Hampshire?
Well, if you look at some of the polls, they vary by 10, almost 15 points in some New Hampshire polls. So, but if you look at the 538 poll, they give Bernie Sanders a modest edge to win. And I think that there's a really strong chance that he does. Consider the fact that he is the senator from Vermont. Right. He won in 2016 the primary by 22 points, beating or besting Hillary Clinton. So with that consideration in mind, I think there's a strong chance. Not only that, it seems to be that his popularity has grown some. And when you consider a Democratic Party that's seemingly heavily against him and trying to rig an election against him, I think people are seeing beyond that and looking at him as their guy.
Kelly's already chiming in. You know, Bernie does have kind of the home field advantage, Kelly. I mean, he's right next door.
No, absolutely. I think that's a very good point that he does have home field advantage. Yeah. And in 2016 that he did win against Hillary. But as we know, this is a marathon and there's a lot of time and there's a lot of states left. New Hampshire is one of the 10 most smallest states. So we have to see what happens in South Carolina and ultimately who is the Democratic candidate.
Gianno, Buttigieg, Mayor Pete had that soundbite that we just played where he talked about giving people a choice between either, Bernie Sanders basically giving people a choice between either staying with Trump or a full-blown revolution that flips everything in this country on its head. And he's like, that's not much of a choice for a lot of voters. And he's right. And Mayor Pete's saying that's not a good enough option. We need a third option. And he says that's him. Is that a good message?
I mean, it's a message, but certainly not one I think is going to resonate with a whole lot of people. You got to keep in mind, Pete Buttigieg is
but wouldn't that resonate with a ton of just modest, moderate Democrat voters, though? I mean, that are scared of Bernie, but also don't like Trump.
Yeah, but they actually favor, from national polls, they favor a Joe Biden, who's a more traditional Democrat than even a Pete Buttigieg is. Yes, he's young, he's 38, and he has a lot of other things that people perceive as positive, but he was also a mayor of a city who ran like crap, if you want to be honest about it. You think about the fact that the racial unrest. You think about the fact that 50% of the police department in South Bend decreased by 50% among black officers. He has some real big issues. He's had big issues in South Carolina. Last month, he was polling at 2% among African Americans. This isn't a person who's poised to win a national contest, as I see it. Beyond New Hampshire, this is a race between Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden.
Kelly, I want to get to you real quick. He's bringing up Joe Biden. Julie Pace yesterday said on our Sunday show that Joe Biden needs to figure out a way to just survive until he gets to South Carolina, which has just a wealth of African American voters. Do you think he can last another 19 days? It seems like he's falling like a rock right now.
I would totally disagree on him falling like a rock. I mean, we have to think about it, as we
the numbers don't look good in New Hampshire either. He's already planning to lose New Hampshire by a lot.
But we have to look at it nationally. From nationally, Biden is number one, and we also can't forget about Bloomberg as well, who's also a moderate as well.
The dark horse,
as I said before, this is a marathon. We have to give time and ultimately wait for South Carolina. But Joe Biden absolutely can hang in there, and any one of those candidates will unite and beat Trump in 2020.
Okay. So you agree that Pete Buttigieg is probably not poised to win? You agree with that? Because I'm not hearing much that you say that support logic and reason.
That's not what I said.
We don't have the time. I get where you guys are going. I see it. I understand. But we got to cut it off. Kelly, we got to go.
It wasn't.
Gianno, thank you so much. We'll be right back.
Thanks, guys.